But so no, I do not think that race played a part in the. Well, I know that race didn't play a part in our decision making, and I just don't see this case as a racial issue at all, especially since almost everybody in it is of the same race.
There's a lot of people who say, well, I mean, but it's an issue that was perhaps driven, the drum was beaten by the mainstream media, which is basically the white media.
Well, all I can tell you, I can't get into the motivations of anybody else's mind, but what I can say, if the situation was reversed and it was the Michigan Chronicle who unearthed the text messages against a suburban mayor that happened to be European, our approach would have been exactly the same.
Madam Prosecutor, your office, of course, has come under criticism in the past. I mean, there are lots of people, there are people who say, well, I mean, the prosecutor, we really, these are your critics, and I want you to respond and ask me if it has a bearing on this ongoing case, that there are times when the prosecutor's office really doesn't prosecute cases in Detroit. There are lots of killings that happen in our county, lots of stuff happening in the city, but when things happen in the suburbs, the city prosecutor, you know, go after them. I mean, is this an election motive why she's doing this? So a lot of people are saying that, and so this case is very significant and historic. When these critics make these remarks, does it have any bearing on?
Well, it's interesting because people may be talking about a few cases they may hear about in the press, and not about the thousands and thousands and thousands of other cases that we do every day. And another thing also is, what about the black victims that we prosecute every day? And unfortunately, the thousands of cases we do where we have black victims and we prosecute very zealously. And we hopefully return their dignity, give them closure, all those things that you want to hear. And we do an awful lot of cases. We do about 18,000 cases a year. And you may hear about 3 or 4 in the press a year that people may be dissatisfied about or think that we are not doing the right thing. Let me just tell you, I take this role very, very seriously. And we've had this discussion before, and I'll say it again because I think it bears repeating. I think the most important function that a prosecutor has is the gatekeeper to the criminal justice system. And there are always going to be people who don't like what we do. We may get a few complaints a year about cases they think we should have charged when we just simply didn't have the evidence to charge. Or we may get, or the people may criticize us in a few cases, not very many. And all when you balance against the 18,000 that we do, where they think that we should not have charged when we did charge. But every single one of those decisions, when they were made, we felt we could prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt, that we had competent evidence to go forward, and we don't look at the race of the victim and or the defendant when we decide whether we're going to charge or not. We just don't do it. And so we have an awful lot of cases that happen in the city of Detroit compared to the rest of the county, unfortunately. But Detroit's not the only city in the county that has crime and crime issues, obviously. We have many cities in the county that have crime and crime issues. But we approach every case the same. Can we prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt? Because I think, like I said, that the prosecutor has the most important function, making sure cases don't get involved in the system that don't belong there. If they get there and they don't belong there, moving as fast as you can to get them out.
Madam Prosecutor, when you leave this office and going home, you are Kym Worthy, African American. Are you concerned about any political fallout this might have in the black community?
What, my decision today?
Yes.
You know, again, I don't worry about it. I really, really don't. And I know, you know, I get asked this question so much, I guess people have a hard time accepting that, but I don't worry about it because at the end of the day, if I have done the right thing and I have considered the facts and the evidence and I've let the evidence and facts guide us and I have done the right thing from there, I can't worry about it and I don't worry about it. It's when you don't do the right thing for the wrong reasons, that's when you should worry about it, and that's when your conscience will eat away at you. So, you know, I really can't worry about how someone's going to feel about a case before I charge it. I can't, you know, do one of these, you know, put my finger to the wind and decide if I'm going to charge or not, or worry about if this segment's going to like me, or if this segment's going to like me, or if women are not going to like me, or men. You know, I can't worry about that. I have to direct the case as we can and be fair. That's the only way to operate when you have a job like mine. The only way that true justice is going to be enacted. That's the only way.
Let's say in your election and majority of Detroiters say, well, we can't vote for the prosecutor because she basically prosecuted the mayor of Detroit, not particularly Kwame Kilpatrick, but the office of the mayor of Detroit. And how would you react?
Well, you know what? I would be very surprised if people wanted to castigate me for doing the right thing and let someone stay in the office when they did a whole bunch of wrong things.
The mayor's lawyer, Mr. Webb, said this at a press conference. He said the the genesis of these text messages and how they were rooted out was illegal according to some federal law. He did not specify. He said from that perspective, the whole case has been tainted because the origin of how it was obtained was illegal in the first place.
Okay. I'm not sure that changed the facts at all, what happened and what we did. But he has his opinion, we have ours, and we obtained everything that we obtained in this case lawfully, and so I'm not worried about that at all. And that's something that certainly will be litigated in a court of law.
How long do you expect this trial to take?
I don't have a clue. I think the exam may be longer than others because of all the documents and stuff and the legal issues that may present themselves. But so I have no idea. I hope that it will stay within time standards, which is about 91 days. That's my hope. But I don't know.
With your office, I mean, this was asked earlier at the press conference in terms of a plea deal. I mean, any discussion going on that end?
We haven't had that discussion yet. We've been focused on the investigation. We're still focused on certain aspects of the investigation. We have not had any discussions about that at all.
There was talk around town, the grapevine, about lawyers, particularly some of the mayor's lawyers, and being involved in some kind of illegal action, if I can say that way, that on the investigation. Is that true? Again,
since it's still ongoing, I'm not going to comment on that at this time.
And you issued John Johnson to show before Wayne County Court. Why?
Well, because there has been some evidence that hasn't been turned over as instructed, and so the judge issued what he did, and we will have to wait till Friday to see what happens as a result of the hearing.
Now, you hinted to talking to the U.S. Attorney Stephen Murphy's office, had some conversation. Can you elaborate in terms
No, only what I said is that I've had a preliminary discussion with him. I'll be having more discussions with him.
Is the federal government interested in what is happening?
I can't speak for them. I can just speak for myself, and then I have contacted him.
Anything else that you want people to know?
I think that you've just about covered everything.
One other question?
Sure.
The question would be, do you think you could win this case without the text messages as evidence?
Well, the text messages are a large part of this case, and it's a large part of our evidence. We'll just have to wait and see what happens in a court.
But if he says the text messages, I mean, the way they were obtained, it's illegal in the first place, you don't think there's good grounds for...
Again, I have to wait. I have to wait and see how this case is litigated. But I'm very confident on the stance that we've taken today. Very confident.
The other thing I said, asked just out of my own personal curiosity, you said early on people would be surprised. What element now, after the fact, did you find most surprising? At least, did you think the public would find most surprising?
No answer to him, answer to him.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, no, I think when we wrap up our investigation, I think you'll kind of see where I was going on that.
Oh,
I did not think that we would be. I thought we would be all wrapped up by now, but we'll have to just see what happens.
And when would that?
I'm not going to put any kind of time table on that.
So you don't have to, but just curiously though, you said the element of surprise that is later, you think?
I think we'll have to wait and see how it develops.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Deputy Mayor, Anthony Adams, told ABC Good Morning America today that this decision was not a legal one, it's a political decision because he believes, I mean, the way it's been covered in the press and when this first came to the public, you did indicate that newspaper reports are not evidence. And basically, he feels that it's been politically tainted, and so it will be difficult to get a good judgment out of this.
Well, that's his opinion. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with what we think. And obviously, we have done a very thorough investigation on these facts. And as I said before, I don't let political aspirations or political opinions or influences affect us. You know, the way you do that, you paralyze yourself. I'm not ever going to do it. I'm not going to start now. We didn't do it on this case.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.